we're getting 4 dungeons, right? 4 new dungeons. We're getting 8 in total, but 4 of them are the new Dragonflight dungeons in Season 1. And if you're like me, you really didn't run these dungeons, besides maybe when you were leveling, you ran each one time, but you have never seen them this intimately. I don't even remember what these dungeons look like, so these dungeons are basically brand new to me. So Blizzard released 2 little short guides on these 2 new dungeons for the Mythic Plus season. Let's check them out. This first one is Neltharus, the Neltharus dungeon guide. Let's see what they have to say about guiding us through this new Mythic Plus Dragonflight dungeon.
Dragonflight Season 2 brings a new set of dungeons to Mythic Plus. I'm Dratnos, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through Neltharus, a 4-boss dungeon full of Jarradin, lava creatures, and black Dragonflight treasures. Let's get started by heading left at the start of the dungeon. Look out for Kalashi Thaumaturges, which cast Molten Core. If this isn't interrupted, it will turn a harmless ore elemental into a molten elemental, which pulses increasing AoE damage until it's killed.
I mean, interrupt the shit is a common theme,
Head
right?
up the stairs and you'll find the dungeon's first boss, Magmatusk. Magmatusk is an angry fire mammoth that can be one of the toughest bosses in this place. Part of the reason I like heading left in the start of this dungeon is to use my first Bloodlust of the dungeon on this powerful beast.
It's like doing the tree
Throughout
first.
Throughout the fight, the intensity and damage of the mechanics will increase as the boss periodically grows extra tentacles. Whoever gets targeted by lava spray should stand still, while others move to dodge the spray. If it's later in the fight, the target might want to pop a defensive to avoid being killed, since the damage gets higher as the boss grows more tentacles. Whenever the boss chooses a target for blazing charge, everyone needs to get out of the way, as the boss is going to charge in that direction and then shoot out waves of lava, with the number of waves increasing for each tentacle the boss has grown. You can also help by standing such that if it chooses you, it'll charge into a nearby wall rather than halfway across the room. Tanks should know that Magmatusk does extra damage if it stands in the lava, while healers should know that the boss will also hit the whole group with magma eruption from time to time.
So if your tank,
which will be nastier for each tentacle that the boss has grown.
If your tank is holding the boss in the lava, you know he's a noob, it's time to leave the group.
Since this boss scales so much with each tentacle, it's a really good idea to have every cooldown available and do your best to end the fight quickly before you get overwhelmed.
Yeah, burst them down.
Over in the other wing of Neltharus, you'll encounter packs of Kalashi that include Kalashi Hunters, which throw binding spears that make a brown swirly on the ground.
Oh, wow.
If you don't dodge the spear, it'll stun you until your group kills the spear to break you free.
Oh, we got some Chains of Domination mechanics there.
Bane of Scales is up next.
Good stuff.
This fight revolves around Fiery Focus, which causes the boss to deal massive damage to anyone within 6 yards, and also to shoot out lava swirlies. You can,
lots of lava on this dungeon.
Stop this by using the grounding spears that the boss helpfully throws at 3 of your group members. Running the chain through the boss, or the boss through the chain, will break the chain, and also apply a stacking dot to the whole group.
Oh, nice. It's pretty tank-intensive.
Once all 3 chains have been broken this way, the boss will lose Fiery Focus and get stunned, taking extra damage. You need to strike a balance between breaking these chains quickly to stop the Fiery Focus.
I'm just gonna turn tail and run through the chains. I guess that's
taking on more of a dot than you can handle. This can be a great time to use defensives and healer cooldowns to let you break more chains more quickly.
Does it do damage?
As you head upstairs to Forge Master Gorek, you can skip past the Iron Torch Commander mini-boss simply by hugging the wall. Even if you plan to kill this enemy, this can be a good idea if your Bloodlust is ready and you want to rush to the boss to use it. Forge Master Gorek is a nasty boss that you can jump down to engage without clearing the nearby trash. But be warned if you do this that you're very likely to pull some of it during the fight, so you might want to clean out the room a little bit first.
Yeah.
This boss frequently jumps to his anvil and casts Might of the Forge, which blasts everyone for a ton of damage. He then follows this up with Blazing Aegis, which targets 3 players, does some damage to them, leaves behind a dot, and also spawns swirlies around them.
Oh, nice.
These players should spread and pop a defensive if their health hasn't been topped before the Aegis hits them. Heated Swings will blast your tank for a bunch of damage, and then knock them away. After a brief delay, the boss is going to leap to the tank's location and do a bunch of damage to anybody that's still there, and also leave behind a fire puddle.
So don't stand near the
Be
tank.
Be very careful with this mechanic as the tank, because most tanks have a way to either get back quickly or not get knocked at all. But this can get other members of your group killed because the...
In my case, it's not get knocked at all, right? Use Death's Advance.
Jump is still going to go off and will then be targeted in melee. If you have a skilled Dragon Isles blacksmith in your party, they can claim some of the Forge Master's power by using the shield left behind on the anvil after his death. After you've taken out all 3 of these bosses, the way will open to the end of the dungeon. Look out for the Kalashi Lavamancers, as these spawn adds if you don't quickly interrupt Molten Army.
Always
if you're short
interrupt
on
the
count,
ads.
you can always pick up some extra from either side of the last boss's arena. Just watch out for the frontal from the Kalashi Wardens.
Oh.
Warlord Sarga is a nasty boss that will reward you for talenting any extra curse dispels, as every time you interact with a pile of...
yeah, I remember this. The treasure room. That's right. I did this for a quest early on in the expansion.
Treasures, you'll get a stack of a dot. The boss will spawn ads that fixate random players and leave behind trails of fire.
Just walking a straight line.
But the main mechanic of this fight is Magma Shield, when the boss will shield itself and start pulsing AoE damage. You can use the treasures from around the room to break this shield. Each treasure is slightly different in how they work, but they can all be used to deal massive damage to the shield.
That's right, yeah, this will break the shield shit.
Once you break it, the boss will be stunned and take...
Hey, Nagura's in his group. She's dead,
damage.
Though, unfortunately.
Keep those ads and their fire trails under control, keep healing or dispelling the curses, and keep using the treasures to break those shields as fast as you can, and before you know it, the boss will be dead.
Nice. That's a pretty cool
That's
little
it for
short
this
guide.
video. We hope you've enjoyed it and are ready to face the Kalashi beneath the Obsidian Citadel. Be sure to hit subscribe so you won't miss videos in the other dungeons, and we'll see you in the Dragon Isles.
Yep, so there's only one more video out right now. It's Halls of Infusion. Let's check it out.
The Dragonflight dungeon Halls of Infusion is now part of the Season 2 Mythic Plus pool. My name is Nagura, and in this video I will go over the most important mechanics to watch out for in this dungeon. At the beginning you will encounter Primalist Ravagers and Geomancers, Rafty Defenders and Containment Apparatuses. The apparatus seems to be one of the most dangerous enemies because it continuously casts Containment Beam onto random players. This casts heavy damage and can only be disrupted. Additionally, it also casts Expulse, which is a heavy AoE damage ability that should be interrupted. A good strategy would be to avoid pulling too many apparatuses simultaneously and focusing them down quickly if you do. Outside of the apparatuses, you should also try to interrupt the defender's demoralizing shout. It will reduce your group's damage done by 25% if not interrupted.
Scott hates Nagura.
Moving into the first room, you can either go left or right.
Seems nice.
Both paths will lead to the first boss, but you unlock different perks depending on which path you choose to clear.
What? I didn't know that.
If you go left, you will reach a limited immortality device, usable by Dragonflight engineers with skill 25 or higher. Activating this will give everyone in your group a 1-hour buff, preventing 1 death, similar to a Rogue Street death ability.
I had no idea that it was different things
right
on each side.
Instead, you will clear the path for a shortcut that opens up later after you kill the second boss. And a second shortcut will open in the same area once you kill the third boss.
I think you go for the shortcut.
But before you can make use of these shortcuts, you have to defeat Watcher Iridius. During the first phase of this encounter, 3 players in your group will occasionally be debuffed by Power Overload. A magic debuff taking for nature damage and leaving behind a puddle underneath the player on removal or exploration. It might be best to have the 3 debuff players stack up and then either mass dispel the debuffs or dispel none of them to make sure the puddles all spawn simultaneously and on the same location to lessen the area of denial. The boss will also cast Static Surge, a heavy, unavoidable AoE damage channel on the group.
Right, but is the free res?
Tanks additionally have to watch out for a frontal attack, doing damage and stunning in a cone in front of Watcher Iridius.
We're not gonna die.
Once the boss reaches 15% health, he will become immune to damage and siphon power from the facility itself, increasing his nature damage done by 2% every 1 second until cancelled. To interrupt his cast, you have to kill 3 of the 4 nullification devices close to the boss.
Okay.
They will explode and remove his barrier.
Ah.
In phase 2,
So
the
they
power
got a slappy
overload
hands,
debuffs will do
essentially.
increased
Slappy hands,
damage
pull
and
him in,
also drop bigger
kill him.
puddles, so watch out for that. After you have defeated Watcher Iridius, you can choose to either go straight forward, or you can take the stairs to a different area.
Wow, there's a lot of
Both
choices.
paths will ultimately lead to the same location. If you decide to go straight, you will see some Primalist Shock Troopers first.
This is the way I've always gone.
Make sure you interrupt their Elemental Focus cast,
Kill that
otherwise
frog
you will
room.
gain an instant chain lightning ability doing a lot of unpreventable damage to the group.
You can get both, yeah, but would you really clear the entire circle in the beginning?
This can either be interrupted, sidestepped even by the tank, or magic dispelled if anyone gets hit by it. Additionally, there are skulking zealots patrolling this area in stealth, so watch out for them. Once you cleared all the trash in the room, the door behind you will close and a small event starts.
Yeah,
Waves of curious swoglets will spawn and randomly fixate players.
I mean, imagine you take the time to get the extra res and then some DPS just dies on the next bull.
Instantly killing the player if it stacks up to 10. After the event, the door will open and you can clear the path to the 2 mini-bosses Flamecaller Amy and Squallbringer Cyrus.
Yes.
If you decided to take the other path after the first boss instead, you will encounter the same type of mobs, but there won't be a Swoglet event, and additionally you will be able to access infused mushrooms. Any player with Dragonflight Herbalism skill 25 or above can activate the mushrooms, giving everyone in your party a 30-minute buff, curing one poison or disease effect every 15 seconds.
So only go that way if you have a herbalist with you.
This might be useful for the next boss coming up, if you don't have anyone in your group to dispel poison effects. Both
you go around
paths
the
now
side with
lead
a
to the
skip, then
mini-bosses.
kill the mobs at the end.
The more dangerous
also
of the two is Flamecaller Amy.
Okay.
She occasionally roots a random player with a magic dispellable debuff, and then spawns a big swirly underneath that player you have to move out of. Once she is low health, she will attempt to cast Cauterize, healing her if not interrupted. Squallbringer Cyrus, on the other hand, will spawn several small Zephyrlings, but they don't do anything other than attacking their aggro target. He will also sometimes cast a whirlwind around him to move away from him to avoid damage.
Blades of Light, baby.
Once you finish off the mini-bosses, the door to the next boss will open.
Yeah, the frog boss. I feel like I always just tanked and spanked
this guy. The Galloping Goliath will spawn Swoglets on players' locations. They will fixate players and apply the same poison debuff as the trash mobs before. So watch out to not reach 10 applications or you will instantly die. Once in a while the boss will cast Gulp. It's an AoE damage ability indicated by a circle around the boss. Any Swoglets inside the circle will be destroyed, and any player in the circle will take damage and gain 3 poison applications. If no player is hit by Gulp, the boss will enrage. Once the Galloping Goliath is defeated,
I feel like we've always just let him
make your way
enrage
to the third boss. Here you will encounter Primalist Gale Singers, Ice Callers, and Earth Shakers, as well as Glacial Proto-Dragons. Gale Singers will occasionally spawn a thunderstorm underneath the player. Glacial Proto-Dragons cast a
They just remind me of Broodkeeper. I get PTSD from Broodkeeper pulls when I see those.
The tank, and they also apply a magic debuff to the whole
I want
group,
one as a mount,
slowing
man.
and dealing damage to
I wish this mount dropped in this raid.
Ice Callers cast a heal, and it can only be disrupted, so
we
be ready for
need more dungeon mounts. I'm going to write a letter to Blizzard. More dungeon mounts,
next
please.
Is Kajin the Unyielding. One of her main abilities is Hailstorm. To avoid the damage, you will have to hide behind one of the ice blocks located around the room.
Yeah. Nice, like a Mechagon
if they get hit by any of her abilities, including Hailstorm, and if a cracked ice block gets hit again, they will get destroyed and do AoE damage around them. To not get damaged by a dying ice block, you should make sure you are hiding behind a fully intact block. Keep in mind some of the blocks are already cracked as you start the encounter. Additionally, she will cast Glacial Surge, creating rings of frost moving outward, starting around the boss. Yeah. Similar to Kuro Grim Totem's ability in both of them.
It's like Mr. Grim Totem.
Once in a while, a player will be targeted by Frost Cyclone, indicated by an arrow on the floor. Make sure to move out of it, and keep in mind any ice blocks hit by the cyclone will either get cracked or be destroyed. Once you defeat Kajin, you can move onto the bridge leading to the last boss, Primal Tsunami. You will encounter some enemies you've already seen before, and additionally there are Aqua Ragers,
oh my god, this always wipes
spawning
everybody.
until you defeat Infuser Saria at the end of the bridge. Aqua Ragers cast an Enrage, but it can be interrupted or soothed, and at 20% health they will attempt to split into 4 smaller mobs. This can also be interrupted.
This is always a shit show, this part of it.
While on the bridge, you continuously have to dodge circular water waves coming from either the left or the right. If you get hit, you get knocked and take damage. You can line of sight these circles by standing really close to the pillars on the opposite side of where they are coming from. Infuser Zarya will be attackable once you kill the last 4 Aqua Ragers standing at the end of the bridge. Watch out for her Aqua Barrier. Interrupt this cast to make sure she doesn't shield
I didn't realize
herself.
that if you stand right next to the pillar,
now
you
can
don't
start
have
to
to
fight
dodge the
against the
shit.
Primal Tsunami. In phase 1, you have to dodge a lot of swirlies and moving water bubbles, while the tank
You've
is
never
to watch
wiped
out
in the
for
bridge?
Swell
I've wiped
Buffet,
in the bridge.
a tank attack that knocks you back.
I've had
At
healers
100
die, all kinds
energy,
of
the
people
boss
die.
becomes immune, and players are thrown away to one of 3 bridges. The tank and the healer both get paired with 1 damage dealer each, and the 3rd damage dealer gets sent by themselves. Everyone has to attempt to run back towards the boss while dodging waves and water bubbles.
Druids just play the game on easy mode, man. Look how she's just running back. As a Death Knight, it takes me freaking an hour to get
this
back.
This gives the boss a stacking damage increase. If the infusers are interrupted, they instead start attacking the players and cast Inundate, an AoE damage cast similar to Infuser Zarya. This cast can be disrupted. Once the infusers are dead, you can finish off the Primal Tsunami to end the dungeon and collect your loot.
Yeah, collect your loot. Did we time the key?
We hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other Mythic Plus guides.
Nice.
Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in
Don't waste your
Season 2.
Death's Advance then, too easy. True, it is easier when I don't waste my Death's Advance.